Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to nuvabar.com. That's NUVABAR.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because, truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
40, he could go, 50, intercepted, and a touchdown to the 10, he will score.
It's time for the Bumper to Bumper award-winning NFL prediction segment on the Fan, brought to you by Continental Diamond. Now, to help you break down this week's games, here's your favorite NFL wonk, Dan Barrero.
Guardsy, before we say hi to Carl Gerbschmidt, so a few texts have come in. I'm just going to read them and then maybe get your reaction to them, and eventually we might get Carl's. Going from that A-plus interview with Corey Provis to Gerby is like going from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Are you kidding me?
Excuse me?
Follow that with Carl? Seriously. LMAO. You can't make this stuff up. Champagne and caviar to pickled pork hocks.
Ha, 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 ha. That's not fun.
And lastly, there's one more I wanted to get to before we say hi to Carl, because we really appreciate him. Provis to Gerbschmidt, true definition of penthouse to outhouse. Hi, Carl.
Hi, yeah, how are you doing?
Doing really well. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good.
I'm sorry about those texts. I mean, we're not here to be...
I like pickled ham hocks. They're good.
Are they good?
Something wrong with that?
They're kind of filling.
Some sort of food snack?
They're kind of filling, aren't they?
And do you think caviar tastes good?
Well, I
don't think I've ever had it.
Yeah, that's just fish eggs. That's gross.
You think it's gross?
Have you ever had it?
What about penthouse to outhouse?
Well, first of all, Penthouse is a dirty magazine. So, if you're saying that what's his name? Corey what?
Corey Provis.
Corey Provis.
He used to broadcast in Milwaukee.
He's a fan of pornography? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what we're saying at all.
Well, sounds like it to me, Dan.
It's an expression. The penthouse of an apartment complex or a condo. The penthouse in hotels, the best room in the place, the presidential suite, the penthouse up high.
Well, why don't you just say presidential suite?
It's an expression.
How much motivation or inspiration does Vern get from Penthouse along those lines? He's still at your place, right? You talked to him about that?
Penthouse is way too tame, I think, for
what are you talking about?
For Vern's movies.
What are you insinuating?
Well, he's in entertainment.
The industrial films.
Yeah.
He's in entertainment. He's in films. I'm pretty excited because they're still here in our house, and so there's not a lot of room in the house because there's like 6 people with us.
How's Mrs. Gerbschmidt handling that?
She's, I would say that amongst my brothers, that Vern is not her favorite.
I see. If you're being honest.
I mean, I think she loves him and everything.
Yeah.
You know, you always have that one relative.
He's family.
Kind of a pain.
I thought that was Randy in your family.
You don't necessarily get along with 100%. Most people, that's Randy.
Right.
But no, she doesn't like. I try not to get involved. I see the good in everybody.
You do. That's
really
your
do.
nature. That's all what you've always been.
I'm a vet. But the exciting thing is my brother Vern, because he can't. There's no place to go back to now in California.
Yeah.
He's going to stay in Wisconsin for a while. Open a studio up.
Oh, be careful there.
Why?
No reason.
It should provide valuable opportunities for young actors.
How young?
I don't know. What do you mean?
I hope
then don't answer.
Legal age.
Don't answer. We don't need Mark involved.
What kind of question is that?
How is are the office ladies going to be okay with how are they going to handle this polar vortex this weekend?
They have gone to Fleet Farm and got a coat.
I see. A Fleet Farm. All right. Makes some sense.
Are you saying something bad about Fleet Farm?
No, I love Fleet Farm, actually.
Fleet Farm's
we
great.
used to broadcast
Toys
for Tot. No, we used to. Are you kidding? We used to do Toys for Tot shows from Fleet Farm.
Yeah.
It was tremendous.
Down in Lakeville.
And then I stayed for 5 hours afterwards. You get everything you want at Fleet Farm. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, but you seem to want to rip it.
No, I wasn't ripping it at all. I'm not sure.
It's not a good place for ladies' clothes.
Well,
wouldn't be my first choice.
When I think of those office ladies for Vern, I don't think of flannel. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not flannel.
Hold on.
What's that?
Hold on. Jordan, what is your first choice for ladies' clothes?
I don't know if I have a power ranking,
Vicky's
Carl.
Secret, probably.
Yeah. I don't think they have jackets.
Yeah. So, it's going to be cold. It gets cold in Wisconsin.
Get him some chopper mittens.
I got some choppers.
Choppers? Yeah, get him a few choppers.
Actually, we a couple years back had some given to us by the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And they got Department of Transportation on the sleeve.
That's special.
Hey,
I'm special.
You
can't have one.
You familiar with Randy from Richmond, Virginia, originally from St. Cloud?
No.
He writes, I used to get annoyed by Carl, but now the more I listen, the more I want to hear what he's going to say next. He's kind of grown on me like my wart that I couldn't get rid of. Now he's just kind of attached to me, and I can't get rid of him. I kind of like this guy. I look forward to his segment every week. Go Pack from a Vikings fan.
I'm not sure I like the whole wart comparison.
Well, it's an odd compliment.
Kind of gross.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I appreciate it.
Zach,
are you guys over your little loss yet?
No, we're not, because we didn't even. What are you? You didn't make it to the divisional round either.
Yeah, but the good part about it,
I know you're young. You're young.
After we lost, you lost.
Yeah.
And that kind of didn't make it hurt so much.
We talked. You called in. We gave you your minutes. We gave you your chance to fire back earlier in the week.
No, I'm ready for the draft.
On Tuesday.
I'm ready to go for the draft. Right now, we're doing some scouting on that. We think it's about 23 players deep.
Where do you pick?
23.
Oh, I'll be damned. Isn't that works out well for you, I guess, then?
Yeah, it should be fine. And that's assuming, and to be honest, there's a lot of bozo teams that draft in front of us. So we'll probably get the third or fourth best player.
Why don't you move up?
Don't need to, Dan.
You might want to.
Dan, we were, I think, something like sixth in a sixth best offense in the NFC.
NFC.
And the eighth best defense.
Well,
or something like that. It's either that or the reverse.
Yeah.
So we're fine. We had a great season, very young team. We have a lot of guys already signed for next year at very affordable contracts.
I'm going to just say you, though.
The best quarterback in the division.
Well, no, I was about to say, this is a bad year to draft a quarterback, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, we don't need to, Dan. We got the best one in the division already signed.
You do?
Long term.
Did you?
He's the best. He's making more money than everybody else is.
Did you watch the game?
Dan, a number of times. Yeah,
it wasn't very good on his part at all. I thought
he was injured all year long.
He looked worse than Sam.
Injured all year long.
He looked worse than Sam Darnold.
Who plays quarterback for your team?
Well, we don't know yet. That's up in the air. Probably going to be.
We don't know yet.
But we don't
know who our quarterback is.
We've got several outstanding options.
But you feel real good about it.
Yeah, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he's great.
We're going to fix him, just like we fixed Sam Darnold. And then we got the kid.
Oh, you fixed
J.J. McCarthy.
If by Dan.
Yeah.
If by fixed you mean like you fixed a dog.
Wow. That's
yeah, I think you did.
That's not very kind. That's downright cruel.
I thought you saw the best
Dan,
in everybody.
We don't want stray dogs reproducing, Dan.
I see. We got a break. Stay on schedule because we went long with your guy Corey, who I would think you know, Corey Provis from Milwaukee days.
He used to broadcast for the Brewers.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, with Bob Uecker.
With Bob Uecker. Maybe when we come back, you can give us your favorite Bob Uecker story, and we will get to the games. They're still going to play them without the Vikings or the Green Bay Packers. More Gerby next.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to nuvabar.com. That's NUVABAR.com.
Part 2 with Carl Gerbschmidt. We've got some games to get to before we begin our predictions. This texter makes a good point, Gerby, because you said the Packers have either the 6th best offense and 8th best defense or 6th best defense and 8th best offense in the conference. And you called that good. Isn't that the definition of middle of the road and mediocre? I mean, there ain't that many teams. You're talking about not even league, just the conference. That doesn't sound that distinguished. 6 and 8. See,
this is why you guys aren't very good football fans.
Why?
Because usually a team is good at one and not at the other.
Yeah.
We're good at both.
You are? No, you're in the middle of the pack. You're average.
You wouldn't know.
You're average at both.
You wouldn't know because we're a balanced team.
I see.
Yeah, no, I don't see why you want to run us down. Why is it? Why can't you just
you disappointed me. You disappointed me very, very much. By the way, so far in the postseason, I'm 4-2. You're 4-2. Guardsy is 3-3. And let's get to the games. I mean, we've got 4 ball games starting Saturday. The first game,
except for one thing.
What's that?
Everybody, don't forget to watch PackerFanConnections.com.
What do we got coming up? Big surprise?
We're going to announce soon our NFL draft packages for get-togethers during the NFL draft.
Is that in Green Bay this year?
Minnesota doesn't have a lot of choices in the draft.
Not right now.
You just have to kind of suck it up.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. So I just watched that space. Just wanted to mention that because I was told I was allowed to.
Where's the draft this year?
In Green Bay.
Oh, I see. Okay. So this will be a package. This will be a package to attend that whole big event?
We'll have a whole bunch of different events.
Yeah.
Dan.
Will Vern's ladies, office girls still be there?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, if he's got to build a studio in Wisconsin, I would expect that he'll probably build his own place.
Yeah, he probably will.
And I would hope that the gals would find their own place to live.
You think so?
Yeah.
How many of them are there?
You shouldn't just sit around the house all day in your underwear.
How many office ladies does he have?
Randy did that too.
Yeah, that's true. How many are there? Like 3 or 4 or 5?
There's 4 gals there with him.
4?
Yeah.
It's a tight office.
That's
close-knit group.
Not a lot of room to maneuver there, I wouldn't think.
Well, especially when there's 6 people in the basement right now, yeah.
What is that supposed to mean? What are you talking about?
Randy's always down there.
So Randy's down there with the 4 office ladies?
And Vern.
Oh, my God. What could possibly go wrong?
I have a big house, Dan.
Yeah, no, I know. It just seems a little cozy.
I have a big house.
Are they in their Fleet Farm flannel right now or not?
Dan, I'm at the office right now. I don't really know.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the office, somebody wanted your reaction to this story. You probably know all about it, and then we got to get to the picks. The governor of Wisconsin and WisDOT announced
the great governor of Wisconsin
more than $141 million in quarterly aid payments for local roads and communities. I'm guessing you're going to end up probably for Packer Fan Connections with about 2. You'll find a way to steal $2 million of it.
It's not quite so easy here. Those are general transportation aids. That's the financial assistance to support transportation-related projects. it's really kind of hard to justify transportation-related projects for a website.
Yeah.
But we're looking into it. So it's going to be great. It's like $136 million just going to each local community. So I've been on the phone all day today calling places saying, hey, make sure you apply for this. So people, we want a lot of that money to come into our region.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've proven that. You've taken some of this money before.
Not quite that money, Dan, but there's been other government money that's been available for entrepreneurs.
I see. Entrepreneurs. I see. Saturday, the Chiefs are hosting the Houston Texans. Kansas City favored by 8.5 points over the Texans, who, of course, shocked the world by dominating the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh the week before. Guardsy, what do you think?
It feels like a lot of points. Feels like too many points. But we've been waiting for the Chiefs to explode. We've been waiting, right? Everybody says they know what they're doing. Everybody calm down. They've been playing close to the vest all season long, not playing particularly well, but guess what? They're the 1 seed. I think this is where we start to see it, and I think the Texans kind of fired their bullet a week ago, a bunch of turnovers, the pick six, whole bit. So I'm reluctant, but I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Gerby?
Let's go for you.
No, we're both 4-2. I don't always have to be when it's tied.
Well, I'll go first this time, Dan, then you can go first next time.
Okay, that's fair.
Very equitable.
Thank God we got
here's the thing. Here's what I know.
System. There's a lot at stake here.
Sorry. If I was doing a lock of the week, I would say take the over in this game because it's going to go way over. I think it's going to be hot. Neither team's going to be great at stopping the other. So, but I think that I tend to agree that just Kansas City's going to win for sure because Goodell loves Kansas City and Taylor Swift. And so I will take Kansas City.
Texans will cover, and I think the forecast is like a high of 22 with 80-mile-an-hour winds, which I also think is going to factor in. I think Kansas City wins. I'm gonna go with what Kansas City's been all year. They've been a team that meanders around. They generally find a way to win, but they don't blow anybody out. And the Texans are good. They're sneaky good defensively, and were last time they played. So I think Houston covers. Kansas City wins. Second game Saturday, the night game. Lions are hosting the Washington Commanders. The Lions favored by 8.5.
This one also feels like too many.
It's a lot of points.
Because of the defense.
Yeah.
I worry that the Commanders, and this is going to come up with the Rams, we value the wild card weekend more than we should. I am worried about that a little bit. I think the Lions will be ready to go. I think the Lions will cover this.
All right, you want me to go second, Carl? Because I don't want to have any sort of, unfair advantage.
Well, Dan, seems fair, does it not?
Yeah, it's great. It really doesn't matter.
You don't like fair.
No, it's just there's not anything at stake. Lions will cover. I don't even think this game will be close. The Commanders, we get it. Cute story. QB is tremendous. All that kind of good stuff. Detroit might score 60. This might be 60-40. That kind of game, but Detroit will have no difficulty covering at home. Gerby?
Well, you're partly right. It's going to be 60 or something, but it ain't going to be near 40 because you can name the score on this one. Detroit's going to kill him.
Sunday, we've got two outstanding matchups, starting with the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Los Angeles Rams of Anaheim. The Eagles are favored by a whopping 6.5 points. Now, you mentioned earlier, Guardsy, the question of overvaluing wildcard weekend. That means probably you think we shouldn't love the Rams as much.
Yeah.
Based on what they did to our team last week.
And including in that overreacting to the Eagles not looking all that particularly good.
That's also true. You're right.
So I'm torn on this one.
Good enough to beat Green Bay.
I know. I mean, they messed with them for it was almost like they weren't even trying.
I don't think they.
No, that's not it at all. They were flustered.
No, they didn't.
Flustered.
They weren't even taking you seriously, and then they just said, "Okay, let's just go ahead and win the game."
It's time to go.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, the Rams, I don't know how good they are either because the Vikings played so poorly.
That's it. That's the problem.
I think this is too many points. I think this is going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams went in there and won. So I will take the Rams to cover.
You're on this one now. If we're going to continue to alternate our sequence.
That's fine. All right. Here's where you should pay attention to what happened last week, okay? Is you should pay attention to the fact that Philadelphia had to do everything they could just get past us, and that proves how good they really are. They're a good team. That's a good team. And then Los Angeles, basically got a bye. So Philadelphia will win this and cover it really, really easy.
Eagles big, you're saying?
Big.
Rams will cover. Last game Sunday, the Ravens, this is probably the game of the weekend, at least going in. Ravens on the road find themselves favored over the homestanding Bills, who find themselves underdogs. Baltimore is a 1.5 point choice. So basically, I think we're talking about who he thinks going to win the game.
No. It's the other way around.
Not according to DraftKings.
No, it's not. Ravens are favored.
I got right here on OddsShark that Buffalo's a 1.5 favorite.
Hang on.
I thought it was Ravens favored. Did it change then?
Oh,
earlier in the week, the Ravens were favored.
I got Buffalo a 1.5 favorite.
Come on, man.
DraftKings has Ravens 1.5 favorite. We go DraftKings.
All right, we'll go with your silly DraftKings. Go ahead.
We're going with DraftKings. I actually
You're not in charge of the segment, Carl.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be fair and accurate.
Okay.
I think the Bills are going to win.
I'm like Fox News.
I think it's going to be an awesome game. I hope it's an awesome game. It's clearly the headliner game. MVP candidates, both sides, the whole bit.
You want me to go next, Carl?
I take the Bills.
Yeah, I do, Dan.
Okay. Gargy's right. I know the Ravens have become the fashionable choice. Their offense is different. We all know why. I guess I'm going to go with the old. I'll see it, or I'll believe it when I see it from the Ravens. And I think the Bills are really good. I do, and they're at home. I'm going to take Buffalo to win the damn ballgame. Carl?
The thing is, all the trends are completely backwards on this. Is that in one case, Baltimore's 5-0 against the spread the last 5 games. Buffalo's 5-0 straight up in its last 5 games at home, and according to your stupid line, that means that they would cover. So it's like everything is like both trends are like it's 2 freight trains coming together. Just for entertainment purposes, I will take Baltimore.
What's that supposed
But
to be?
if I lose by 0.5 point, I'm going to be really pissed off.
I don't think he can lose by 0.5 point.
He wants to keep it even. He wants to keep it interesting.
Oh, I see.
Between us,
I see. Okay, if you say so. Anything else before we go,
Hey,
Carl?
Dan?
Yeah,
Dan?
Carl. Yeah.
Brian was asking, is that you seem to do really well in those ads on PackerFanConnections.com, being there with good-looking women. He's wondering if you would ever consider a small role in one of his industrial films.
And he does mean small, I'm guessing.
That's up to you, Dan. I can't really answer that.
Tell him I'm really flattered. Tell him I'm really, really flattered.
Should I have him call you?
But I would say no. I'm going to politely decline this. I may regret it.
You don't even want to know the role?
Well, he said it was a small
maybe
role.
he could show you the script or something.
Yeah, send the script.
Do we know
He
the
would
name?
take you to dinner. He would take you to dinner.
What's the name of the film? Do we know? I'm afraid to ask.
He's got a lot in the works right now.
I'm not involved with that stuff.
They're mass
But he
produced.
asked me, he said, that guy is exactly what I want. That guy looks exactly like what I said. To be honest, that's a better picture of him than the reality.
Yeah, oh, much
but
better.
they can do stuff with makeup.
Yeah, they really can. You're right about
I
that.
told him to watch a TV show.
We prove that every week on Enough Said. You're 100% right. Tell him thanks, but no thanks.
Okay, Dan.
But I might. And
I think the gals will be very disappointed.
We got a couple other guys here that might be interested, though.
There's several that might be interested.
Marty, Brett,
yeah,
Meat Sauce, Halvey.
Oh, senior producer Brett Blakemore?
He might be interested.
He might be interested.
Yeah, in the right role.
We have to draw him out a little bit.
Let me get back to you on that one.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
a little shyer.
We got to go talk to Ben Goessling or Gosling or whatever you call him. Gosling.
I don't know. Oh, that's the Vikings guy.
Yeah, Ben.
Right, he's not very good. Well, go Packers.
First chance for us on air to chat with Ben since the debacle last Monday night in where was that game?
Arizona.
Glendale, Arizona. Goessling and then Lavelle at 5:30. But first,
The Fan wants to give you a shot to put a grain in your hand with our national cash contest. Bills. Buffalo Bills. Bills. KFAN.com. Make the keyword Bills.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the NuvaBar. It actually helps you work out. The NuvaBar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the NuvaBar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the NuvaBar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
Well, by all rights, what we were supposed to be doing with our 4:30 guest today is previewing the next round of the playoffs, right? All we had to do as a football team was take care of business.
Did you see the game?
And by doing so, we would be talking about a Vikings-Eagles matchup, which hasn't been all that favorable in the postseason over the course of National Football League history.
Chipped your chance.
Exactly. And you say, all right, at least we're there. We're not there.
Frustrating.
We didn't make it there. We didn't even make it to the second week. And I'm not sure if Ben Goessling is still grieving. But we'll find out. Are you annoyed, Ben? Because I am. I wanted to get milk at least another week, at minimum, out of this National Football League postseason, and yet here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I would say I am annoyed is probably not the word. I was expecting it would, I picked them to lose. I guess I shouldn't say I expected it. But
yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I thought they're not going to be done in the first round of the playoffs. So, yes, it is a bit of a cup of cold water to the face when and heard players talk about it. Justin Jefferson, cleaning out his locker on Monday, said, I expected I'd just be coming in here on a normal day and getting ready for the next round. And instead you're saying goodbye to people. So yeah, it is a bit of a shock how quick it turned.
So obviously one of the key questions surrounds the quarterback and Darnold and what to do, the Darnold dilemma, so to speak. Did you come away from the presser with the two chief brain wizards feeling any more or less convinced that Sam Darnold is going to be part of the Vikings' future in 2025? Was there any clues you gave that made you say, yeah, you know what, maybe more of a chance, or any clues that said, the ship has sailed?
Well, I think, and I wrote this in my newsletter today, you can kind of do the parse it game and try to see if they gave us any hints, but they have every reason right now to keep this thing as ambiguous as possible, because I do think what they're going to look at possibly doing is if you keep him in some capacity, whether it's a franchise tag or a short-term deal, it does allow you to ensure what kind of compensation you get for him if you do trade him, or it gives you a little more time to determine is it him or J.J. McCarthy. You get that offseason to kind of look at J.J. McCarthy, and then maybe somebody wants to make a move for Darnold later in the offseason or even, in April, sometime before the draft. You don't have to do it right away in March. So I think the way they went about it was aimed at trying to keep their cards as close to the chest as possible so that they can extract some leverage from the fact that they have a couple of options there. So I think they were excited about what Darnold did. I think they were confident that he could play better than people expected. I don't know that they were expecting him to be a 35 touchdown guy, but you have to factor in what he did over those last 2 games. And I know they're still very excited about J.J. McCarthy. So I think a long-term, this is our guy for the next 10 years commitment to Sam Darnold is not coming, but I could see a scenario where they try to at least keep him for the short term. And I think a lot of what they're trying to do is make that as viable as possible, or make their trade leverage as viable as possible if they in fact kept him and then decided to move him after that.
Well, give me a number that you think they would accept. Are we talking if you can get him for $20 million a year for the next 2 years, or a 1-year deal at 20? What's the number now that you think he's been reduced to here that they might be willing to accept?
Well, if you did the franchise tag, that's like $40 million for the 1 year. Yeah, that's expensive. I think they could do it. They can afford it, but do you want to make that kind of a commitment in the chance that he's not here? So maybe it is a shorter term deal. If it's 2 years for $30 a piece, I mean, that takes a lot of that flexibility you have with McCarthy out of the mix, but it would also be a contract that would be fairly easy to trade, I would think. A lot of teams would say, hey, we can plan on this, and this is a guy that we like at this price. So that would still give them something of that market. I think if they could get him, 2 for $20 a piece, you do it in a second. I don't know that he'll look for that kind of a deal, but it is going to be really interesting to see what his market looks like, because I think a lot of the question around the league is how much of this success was because he was in this system with this coach, with this talent around him. Can he replicate that somewhere else that needs a quarterback? I think that'll be a lot of the question that determines what kind of offers he gets. There aren't a lot of great quarterbacks in free agency. He may be the best one, but everybody has to say, can what we saw this year be duplicated in another system? And if people say no, maybe that does make the price easier for the Vikings to bring it back. I think that's a possibility as well.
What's the number that starts to get seriously in the way of this team making, the additions and improvements elsewhere? Because to me, that's a key issue. And I think a lot of people assume that, well, no, you get into 30 or 40 million, then we're doomed. We can't fill out the roster the way we want to otherwise, even with the cap money we have. What do you know what that, or what's your feel on what that number is, where it starts to become a significant drag on everything else?
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you did the 40 million number, I mean, I think they're going to have, give or take, $70 million under the cap this year. So could they afford the 40 million? Yes. But they only have like 38 guys under contract for next year, and they have some needs at expensive spots. Cornerback, they have, I think Mekhi Blackman is like the only guy signed for next year, and they're going to need some additional reinforcements there, whether it's re-signing Byron Murphy, which I don't think will be cheap, or you try to go get somebody in the draft, but they don't have that many draft picks. So that spot alone, I think, is going to be an expensive one to address, or you have to hit on some of these mid-price guys like they did last year. So it's there. I think they could use help on the middle of the defensive line. I know they are interested in investing on the offensive line. I think the guard could be a spot where they try to make a big move, and that could be expensive too. So I think they could afford Darnold, but then it does come with those trade-offs of how many other places do they say, we want to solve this problem with an expensive addition in free agency. And if you sign Darnold, it does make it harder to say yes to doing it at every single one of those spots.
Let's talk also about the Daniel Jones factor, because I think a lot of people have come to the conclusion that it's more likely than not that Darnold is gone. But that's okay, because we've got McCarthy, and we'll make Darnold the buffer again. Maybe he starts the season as the starter, but he understands that we're all waiting for McCarthy to take the job. What I guess I'm not sure of is, are we assuming, we talk a lot about the Darnold market, is there going to be no market for him? Because I think people are kidding themselves and thinking that we'll give Jones $10 million for 1 year and everything will be fine. Is that gonna be enough to secure Daniel Jones if that's the direction they want to go?
It's hard to say. I could see somebody saying, hey, this was a guy that earned a 4-year, $160 million deal a couple of years ago by beating the Vikings in a playoff game. Now, the last thing everybody saw from him was the struggles he had with the Giants this year that cost him his job. But there may be somebody that says, hey, this is a guy that has been productive in the NFL, and we want to pay him more than $10 million a year. I mean, he did not bottom out to the degree that Sam Darnold did to depress his value that much. He had a bad stretch this year. He had the injury in 2023, but his highs had been higher in the NFL than Sam Darnold's had before coming to Minnesota, if that makes sense. So I think the idea that he's just going to be there for that same, $10 million deal next year, I don't know that I would expect that. They may be able to get him at a number that's affordable enough that they said, you know what, if it's $15 million or something like that, we're still okay. We can still move to McCarthy if we're ready to do it, but it does give us a little more time. So, I think a lot of the reason they brought Daniel Jones in was for that possibility that Darnold leaves and they can't figure out a way to make it make sense to keep him. Daniel Jones becomes kind of the next Darnold. I think there's still certainly a possibility it goes that way, given I think they felt good about what he did. We didn't see a lot of it, of course, but I think he spent enough time in the offense that they may say this is a palatable option. And I still think they're excited enough about J.J. McCarthy that it's very possible he's the starter going into next season. I mean, he's starting to work out on the field again, and I think they feel like he grabbed about as much as he could from his redshirt year. So maybe they just decide it's going to be McCarthy, and we'll get a veteran to back him up, but it's going to be him kind of as the starter from day one.
The signs are that physically, if they determine that he's ready to start from the first game of the regular season, that he's going to be able to do that?
Yeah, that's my sense of it. I mean, he has been back on the field. They've cleared him to do that, so he's starting to run and throw and do more on-field work even now. So, yes, I think you fast forward to OTAs, end of April, beginning of May, I think everybody feels good about him being able to do the entire slate of the offseason stuff. And in that case, you should be able to do everything you need to do from there to through training camp and the preseason. So if you decided you want him to go, I don't think there's going to be physical limitations to that.
Do you believe they want Hitman back? We all know what he's meant to the organization, Hall of Fame ability, the whole bit. But, it ends for everybody. There comes a point of diminishing returns, whatever, and then you got to factor in salary, which I know he's taken some hits there already. But do you get any indication that they're going to really lobby hard to try to milk another year out of him, almost regardless of what he wants, or is this it for the Hitman in Minnesota?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of factors there. I think he was beat up towards the end of the year, and I think as he's going through his process, that is going to be a factor. I mean, he's got 2 kids at home now. They're not old yet. They're still pretty young, but every year of that does take away from time with kids. I think that's a factor for him. I think the way they talk about him and what he means to that defense as a conduit for Brian Flores on the field, as somebody that Brian Flores can bounce things off of, and we'll see if it's Brian Flores, that's a whole other conversation. But the level of intelligence he brings and the level of wisdom he gives to younger players is still something they want. Does that happen in a way that he's still on the field as much as he was? I'm not sure about that. I think we saw some slip this year, and I think there was enough health stuff that he may say, you know what, this is time for me too. I mean, I think they're going to be gracious and give him the time to figure that out, but I wouldn't be surprised if one way or the other, this is the end for him, at least in Minnesota.
Yeah,
which probably means it's the end overall.
Overall as well, that's very true. Ben Goessling, brought to you by our good friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, as he's been all season, this year, I should say. Question regarding the KOC contract. Florio had floated a report of potential tension between the coach and the ownership on the basis of, frustration that they didn't take care of it, or they've waited as long as they have to take care of it. I've not heard any reporting back that up elsewhere. What has your reporting told you? Do you think there's anything there? Do you think it was more, all right, he's kind of a supposition there, or kind of wondering? Or do you think there's any teeth to that?
I do think there has been some frustration that nothing has happened to this point, just in the sense that there hasn't been much discussion. Now, I think it has started, and I think that is kind of how the Wilfs have planned to approach it the whole time. But I have heard some of those things. I have heard enough to make me think that there's just been a lack of discussion, which was kind of getting people a little bit uncertain of where it was going to go. But I think the Wilfs had been pretty consistent saying we're going to talk about it after the season, and I think that's already started to happen. I mean, Kevin O'Connell talked about that the other day, that those conversations have already started. So I don't think it's anything with regard to they've had discussions and they've gone badly or they're not on the same page. It's more just been hey, are we going to get this figured out? I think if there's anything, it's probably more from that place. But by not doing a deal before the season, Kevin O'Connell has probably put himself in a much better place financially than he would have been. I mean, you're talking about Coach of the Year votes. You're talking about all the quarterback whisperer stuff. He has gained some leverage in this whole thing. So even if there was confusion or consternation about why haven't we done anything yet, I think the fact that he's closer to that end date of his contract does help him financially, and I think that'll probably be borne out in the deal that gets done, which I expect it will.
One question, and I think one question only related to the Rams game. You did, as you say, you picked the Rams to win the game. I think Mark Craig did as well. I did. Several people did. So I'm not going to, as you say, I don't know that you're necessarily surprised that they lost. But
yeah,
I am curious to find out what surprised you the most about the way they lost.
Well, I think the fact that they didn't have more answers for that Rams front was a little bit surprising. The Rams had some ways, and I think Dan Orlovsky did a segment on this on NFL Live talking about the ways that the Rams were able to kind of work around the Vikings protection, which there's enough familiarity between all of these coaches that I would think that the Vikings would say, hey, they're going to know everything we're going to do, so we have to maybe counter for the fact that they know us as well as we know them when there's all of these relationships between O'Connell and Sean McVay and so on and so forth. I was surprised by that. And I think I was also surprised by the fact that there was still as much open space for the Rams early in that game as there was. I mean, the Rams came out saying, we're going to throw. Yeah. We're not going to try to run the ball right away. We're going to lean on Matthew Stafford. We're going to think we could find space. And the Vikings blitzed a lot. And the way they blitz does leave space behind because they play a lot of these zones, and it does leave routes up the seams. But the Rams were attacking those early enough that I was a little surprised that it was as easy for them early as it was.
A couple people are asking about Beeflo, who I know has may even have an interview today. He's interviewing with two or three teams. Yeah. So do you sense that Flores is at a point in his career where he's going to take a second shot at this, almost regardless of how attractive a job it is, as long as it's a head coaching job? Or do you think he's going to be pretty picky?
I think he'll be picky because there's a couple things there. I think he knows as well as anybody that a good fit with the owners you're working for is really important. And I would look at, and this is not his vantage point of it, it's mine, but I look at all three of those jobs that he's been linked to and say, am I completely confident if I'm getting my last chance to be a head coach, if it's with these owners? I don't know. I think he'll have to determine that through the organization and through the interview process, but I wonder about that. He has also talked a little bit about, hey, I like the fact that when I'm a defensive coordinator, I get to be home a little bit more. I'm not working around the clock. I'm not sleeping in my office, all of those kinds of things. I think that has been a real thing for him. He's brought that up a couple of times when I've talked to him, and I do think it's part of his thought process of, do I want to go back to this, knowing what it's going to mean for my family life? But he's a competitive guy, and I think there is always that thing of, I mean, every coach says this, there's only 32 of these jobs. And if you get a chance to have one of them and shape an organization in the way that you want to do it, it is a difficult thing to pass up. So I think he's going to be picky. If there's a job that he feels good about, I think there's a good chance he takes it. But I also think he may say, you know what, I can bet on myself another year and stay in Minnesota and have another year where I make a good impression and then go from there. I think it is going to come down to him finding the right fit to say, my second and probably last shot at this, I'm taking it with this team.
Give me your winners in the divisional round, since we have to live vicariously through other teams' exploits.
I think I'm taking the Lions. I think they are still the class of the NFC. I will go. I'm going to go Chiefs and Bills. I think that Bills-Ravens game is going to be awfully fun to watch.
Yep.
But I'm going to go with those. And then the Rams and Eagles, I think, is the toughest one because the Eagles are weird. I mean, they have all this talent, but they don't play in a way that makes you think that they put it all together all the time. I think that front will give Hurts trouble. I'm going to take the Rams. It may be one of those, just to not go chalk completely through it here, I guess. But I like where they're going with Stafford. I like McVay in the playoffs. I think that defense has been better. I'm going to say the Rams stay hot and that they're playing in Detroit and the Stafford versus his old team for the NFC title next week.
Yeah, I definitely took the Rams against the spread. I'm not sure I'm convinced on an upset, but I don't know that I'd be surprised. And as Garzi and I were talking about this, the game is how How much of this is overreaction to last week, where the Eagles did not look particularly distinguished, and the Rams look damn good? So is that about who the Rams are at this point, or is that about who the Rams were playing? Right? I mean, that's the question at this point. And same with the Eagles, Packers as well. So the week before. So I do like the matchups, even though I'm still annoyed that. And by the way, by virtue of these, I guess it wouldn't have mattered because there's no such thing as a noon game, divisional round day. So I think I'm on for like 4 hours on Sunday sermons or something. I was hoping for like a 1 hour tour again, but apparently those days are long over. Appreciate the time as always. We will chat next week. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Dan.
Ben Goessling, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, is the fine sponsor of this particular segment. Lavelle is scheduled to join about 33 minutes from now. We'll see if we can get him going on a number of fronts. We got top 5 at 5, though. What are we thinking about, Garzi?
Beeflo, Wolves, and Minnesota Golden Gopher basketball.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to nuvabar.com. That's NUVABAR.com.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.